So when I took my blinders off on my eating habits, that's what I thought I was doing. I'm going to get real about how I'm eating. I ended up having to take my blinders off of my whole life. But when I didn't know what to do with losing weight, and I didn't know what was making me make the choices that I was making, all that I knew to do was to surrender what my mind told me that I wanted to eat, and how late my mind told me I wanted to sleep, and how comfy my mind told me the couch was, and trade that in for what I knew to be true, which is, eating right and exercising. That's going to condition the body and get you healthy and get weight off and all of that stuff. So I surrendered what my mind told me that I wanted to do for what I knew to be true. And what I did was started checking back to following the blueprint of the body. It's like, I got this body, however this body got here. And there are some things that we know to be true. That the body runs a lot more efficiently when it's given certain materials. So just like building a house, if you use, shoddy materials, you're going to get a shoddy house. But if you use high quality materials, you take a little bit more time, a little bit more energy, invest a little bit more money, and really put the best materials into that, that structure is going to stand there forever. And that's the way I started looking at my body. So getting to the truth of the situation is really, really important, and getting past what your mind tells you, and getting into how you really feel about things. So now I feel that I manage my emotional state a lot better. And I'll probably do a whole workshop just on managing emotions and understanding emotions, because there's a lot of addictions that come into our emotions, and because there's chemical processes that take place in the body, like with fear, that anxiety, that kind of feeling that I get, there's a chemical that gets released in my body to create that feeling. So the fact that my mind now logically understands that that's not me about to have a heart attack, and that that's my body just doing a chemical reaction, then I can take it and I can interpret it however I want to. Now I see it as an indication that it's something that I'm supposed to do. Doesn't mean that I always want to do it, but now I'm more uncomfortable not doing it than I was staying where I was. So now whenever I set a goal, I'm more uncomfortable not reaching my goal than I am in doing whatever it takes to reach that goal. And it's a very, very powerful place to be. But does that mean that I operate in that mode 100%, 24/7? Not necessarily. Because I'm still in process, and I'm still learning this, and I'm still integrating it. But when I do integrate it, when I say leaning into it, somebody said that around me. I think that my friend Joy had said that to me. Somebody great, Lance Armstrong or somebody along those lines, had mentioned about just leaning into the greatness and leaning into that faith. And that's what I do now. I just kind of lean into it. It's like I just pick those areas where it's like, okay, I don't know this person, and they might think I'm crazy if I start a conversation with them. But if they think that I'm crazy, at least I don't know this person. So who cares if they think that I'm crazy or not? And I just lean into it. I just start a conversation. And then the more that I do that, the more that I see, oh, gosh, all you got to do is start a conversation with somebody. And some people are really, really excited to connect with you, and some people aren't interested. But it has nothing to do with me. It wouldn't matter who started that conversation. And as a matter of fact, most people are sitting around thinking about how they could start the conversation, but they're not doing it. They're waiting for you to start the conversation. So, understanding that everybody's having these same thoughts, or a majority of people are having these same thoughts, and the same fears, and the same anxieties, and the same everything, then I'll just be the one, as one of my mentors says, I'll be the one to flash first, following the trench coat rule. I'll be the one to flash first. So I'll be the one to risk failure to provide a safe space for you to be. And it's up to you if you want to take that space. It's up to you if you're ready to recognize it. I mean, that's totally up to you. And I'm not going to judge you either way. But I'll risk it. Because if it does work out well, it's going to be a really, really great situation. And it's going to be totally worth the risk. And if it doesn't, any failure is just my interpretation of the event, because I have that expectation attached to it. Which really, if you let go of expectations, you can no longer have disappointment in life. And there's a difference between intentions and expectations. You can intend on something happening. I intended to fill this room today. And I could be devastated, but upset. I could have said whenever you showed up and you were the only one, you know what, let's just cancel it. But I didn't, because I live in faith. I trust whoever needs to hear this message is going to hear this message. Whoever's supposed to be in this workshop is going to be in this workshop. And if all of you leave here today and decide, you know what, I think that girl is crazy, and I'm not going to listen to a thing that she says or be involved with her from this point forward, I I'm okay with that, because all that that says to me is that you're just not ready for my message. You're not the people that I'm supposed to reach. But I did my part, and I showed up. And yeah, so you can let go of the expectations. And what I've learned, you know, you can have expectations of connecting with 20 people, you know, getting 20 leads for your business, or, you know, 20 new referrals, or 20 whatever. And you can get that, and they can be mediocre, they can be okay, or maybe it's too much for you to even follow up with. Or you can get that one solid connection, and that can totally change your life. But you're never going to know unless you're in the flesh first, because that's what everybody's doing. Okay, let's see here.
I'll be flashing the phone next week.
Do what? Oh, flashing on the phone? Yeah, it really helped me when I put a mirror on my desk, because I had to see how I was showing up for people. And I could no longer kind of sit there like, okay, I know you're going to really want to hang up, and I'm just waiting for you to hang up. And as a matter of fact, why don't you just not answer the phone so I can just leave a message, and, you know, this will be a lot easier than risking you being like, what do you want? Whoever does that? Nobody does that whenever I call people. So I've shifted and changed my story. Now I'm like, I'm so awesome and great that this person's actually sitting there thinking, gosh, I really wish I knew Chrissy Key better. So I just tell myself that that's what they're doing. So whenever they answer the phone, that I just pretend like, hey, I know you're waiting to hear from me anyway. What are you doing? You know, and when you bring that kind of energy, people usually respond to it. And most people are so really like, well, I guess there's kind of two people. The kind that want to hide and don't want to be seen. So even if you're like, I see you, hi, they're like, no, don't look at me, I'm not here, no, I'm not going to return your phone call, whatever. That's where they're at. And there's another part that's like really, really, really wanting somebody just to say, hey, I see you. You exist, you're important to me, I remember you, I know your name. And that's what they're looking for. So if they're in their stuff, let them be in their stuff. But if they're ready to connect, don't miss out on it. Don't miss out on it. So I talked about reacting and responding to life, because I feel that's a big thing, that we're in a reaction mode. It's like that knee-jerk. Well, if 90% of our actions are unconscious anyway, you're just reacting to life. And being able to take that pause, and for me, I did it with feeling that emotional state instead of just getting caught up, because that emotional, that feeling in my chest always coincides. Every single time that I feel that, my mind starts racing. And I start getting into my fears, and I start getting into my doubts, and I start getting to, what if this, and what if that, what if this, what if that, oh my God. You know, it's like hand in hand. I feel it here, and it goes crazy here. And I don't like it going crazy here, and I definitely don't like the pressure here. So I started using that as my trigger, and that was my indication to just shift my perspective. And if nothing else, sometimes I can't find, you know, sometimes I you know, you find yourself in like one of those situations where it's like, you just I cannot possibly see what the positive light is in this situation, because I'm so stuck in whatever idea that I had. Then I just have to completely surrender and just say, okay, it's all perfect, even though I can't see how, and even though I can still blame, justify, and complain all the reasons why it's not perfect right now. I'm just going to say, okay, it's perfect, and usually within a day or two, it'll come to me. And the more that I practice it,